I was convicted of first-degree felony murder and sentenced to 26 years to life in prison. It's an honor to meet you all, and I'll be happy to share my story. Are we to that part, Marcus?
Yeah, I think so, Jason.
Okay. So I was born in California and raised in California. My father was African American. My mom is Italian. Now, I had the good fortune of being raised in what we call out here in the States, like the middle class or the suburbs, right? So we lived in a small town called Acton, which is it's in a desert, Mojave Desert. And I was the only kid in my entire elementary school who was of mixed ethnicity. I want to go back a little bit and say that my first experience with racism occurred in the home. I don't remember what the argument was about. I just know that in the heat of the disagreement, that my mom said a word to my dad that you never say to a black person in anger. It was the N-word, right? And the way my dad reacted, like he didn't put his hands on her, but he got up from his seat so quickly and chased her so fastly. I knew at that point in time that if anyone ever called me that name or in any other way tried to make me seem as if I was less than someone else, then that's how I needed to react. I needed to get aggressive, and I needed to let them know, in certain terms, that I was not to be bullied around. It was important for me to be tough. And then as you get older into adulthood, at least here in America, masculinity is often attached to the billfold. How much money are you making? How big is your house? How big is your car? I had a belief that that's what it meant to be a man. And by the time I was 20 years old, I had a very close friend of mine who I looked up to as like a big brother. We were already living kind of the party lifestyle, so we knew a lot of people who were doing things that were irresponsible, illegal, and there was an idea that was hatched to rob drug dealers. When the idea was hatched, I was like, well, I'm in. And we actually began to rob people who we suspected were selling drugs. At first, it seemed kind of exciting, like the preparation, I had 2 co-defendants, kind of surveilling suspected drug dealers' homes and then going and burglarizing. We went to the suspected drug dealer's home, and initially it was supposed to be a burglary, but he ended up being home, our victim. I went in and I went left, and my 2 co-defendants went right. And the next thing I heard was several gunshots. And as I went to go see what was happening, one of my co-defendants came stumbling back and said, I've been hit. I looked around the corner and saw our victim dead on us. But because of the laws in California and my involvement in the crime, I was convicted of first-degree felony murder and sentenced to 26 years to life in prison in California state prisons. So on the night we committed this crime, we evaded the police, and I was in the middle of the woods, and I found my way back to my parents' home. But on the day I was arrested, as the sheriffs apprehended me at my parents' home and ushered me down the driveway, it was the first time in my life that I saw my dad at the end of the driveway with heaving sobs, uncontrollable tears. And in that moment, I had an understanding. It was a new understanding that the decisions that I made were never just about me. Like, they impacted the people who I cared about the most.